this beautiful Sunday here in Southern California, at least for three of us. And then we got Dave Contreras out there in Fort Lauderdale. I know it's probably the sun probably coming down right about now. But I got the three horsemen here rolling with the punches. We got Dave Trujillo from Temecula, Mighty Mike.
What's going on, brother? I'm right here. Ready.
We got the champion right here, man. Give us his little details and his insight from the experience from inside the ring, a little something different that we don't have. And that's why we are very pleased having him come aboard. And we need somebody like Mighty Mike, man, to make this thing legit and official. Thank you, champ. This is your first edition joining us, and we are very happy to have you.
My pleasure. Seriously, it's just an honor to be on this show, just to be able to give my insights about what exactly I've been doing and what I've been through. There's so much that I've been through. I have a 15-year boxing career. You understand that, and I have a title under my belt, and I got 33 fights. So experience is something that I'm quite aware of.
Right on, brother. Hey, Contreras, why don't you start us off a little bit about what happened this weekend?
You know what, Jaime? But before I talk about what happened this weekend, Mike, once again, I know I've told you 1,000 times. Here's 1,001. We are honored to have you on our show. And I'll piggyback on what Jaime just said. All of us, we've all been watching boxing all our lives. We were those kids at 8 years old. We were the remote control. We were the antenna holding up the little black and white television for our dads. And then he would say, move to the right, move to the left, don't move. We'd be paralyzed watching Chucho Castillo fighting, Ruben Olivares. But, today and from now on, we have a world champ. And you know what? That's a title that you will have to the day you die. And it's going to be on your stone. It's going to be forever. And we are truly honored to have somebody that was in the ring, that won a world championship. We are very honored to have you on the show, and we're looking forward to for you to share with us what it's like to be in the ring, what it's like to prepare for the fight, and what it's like, just to have that warrior's mentality every time you stepped into the ring. We're honored and privileged to have you. And I think Dave also wants to give you a warm welcome, and then we'll talk a little bit about the weekend, if it's okay with you, Jaime. ¿Está bien? All right.
So, you know what? I trained my kids since they were in diapers how to box. And, it was always a pleasure to be able to go to Soboba Casino. And you were always the highlight, baby. So champ, I'm telling you, we've been watching you forever. And man, I'll tell you, you brought the vibe into that place, and that place was awake when you were there. I mean, I remember Mighty Mike, and my kids grew up watching you right there live. And now they're going to be watching you right here on Rolling with the Punches with us. It's an honor and a pleasure to share the screen with you, brother.
Dave, I appreciate that. And you know what? That's exactly what you said about you guys chanting Mighty Mike. It's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to please the crowd.
And yes, sir, you did.
Guys, our listeners, starting next week, we're going to be hopefully learning we're all old timers here except Mike. But we're going to learn how
I'm right there with you, Dave.
Yeah, how to flash an email. So if you have any questions, you could just send it to that email. And once you get that email, you could ask the questions, and we'll read your questions on the air live, and we'll answer your questions. So as of next week, we will give you an email where you could actually see it, send your questions in, and we'll be answering your emails starting next week. With that said, you mentioned what happened over the weekend. What did you guys think about the Bubu Andrade fight yesterday on DAZN? Give me your opinion, guys.
I'll let Trujillo start on that one.
All right. Well, you know what? It's nice to see Andrade back at it again. He's always been an exciting fighter. Unfortunately, I think there was a lot of ring rust there for him. I think he should have took the guy out instead of it going 12. He dropped him in the second, and he should have been able to jump on him right there, and take him out. But again, we're going to look at the ring rust. Andrade was moving around like he normally does. I saw a lot of holes in his game, guys. You can't put him up against Canelo. Canelo will take him out. He's about ready for the Charlo brothers for sure, though. That's my take on last night on the Andrade fight.
Big Mike.
That Andrade fight, you know, it was interesting to see, you know, the old timer and the young buck going at it, and you know what, he moved around a lot. The what's his name? Not Andrade,
Andrade?
the other no,
Williams.
Williams. He moved around a lot, and you know, he got stunned in the second round. You
Mhm.
saw he got dropped by Andrade, which is something like a he gave him, I believe it was a left hook.
Yes.
It was as straight as a left hook that he dropped him with, and those he was moving like an old timer, but those are the old timer skills. You know, he got it in real quick, and he got to get him on the canvas, which is, I really believe that pushed him a lot further into the win for that win. So he did a great job. You know, in coming back.
What
Yeah.
about you, Jaime? What did you think?
I basically thought he was. There was a lot of rust.
Mhm.
I think there was a lot of rust. He needed to. I thought he needed to step it up a little bit, which he did. You know, but you could see that there was some rust, and it has to go. It has to. You know, a lot of it has to do to, I think, COVID and all this other stuff going on. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I, you know, it's always good to see the Tiger and the new Cub coming in. But you know, experience is experience,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's what ended up happening.
You know, this fight remind me of. Let's see what you think about this, Mike. Canelo against Billy Joe Sanders, because Andrade has a lot of Canelo. I mean, a lot of Billy Joe Sanders
Mhm.
type of fighting skills. He hits, he runs. You know, he goes lateral from side to side, and I think
Yeah, I
the
saw that.
difference between Canelo and Williams last night was that Canelo is going to cut off the ring, and maybe for the first 6 rounds, Canelo is going to look slow because Sanders is very fast, just like Andrade was very fast last night. But Canelo's going to hit him to the body in the 6th, 7th round, and then the fight's going to be over.
Wear him
But it
down.
reminded me a lot. Did it remind you guys a lot of the future fight May 8th between Canelo and Billy Joe Sanders? Because they have more or less the same style, right?
Now that
It
you
could
put
be.
it that way, yes.
It could
Yeah.
be, but
Yeah.
I think we're talking about a whole different hit when it's coming to Canelo. So
Oh, no
Mhm.
doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt, Jaime. Yes.
I agree with
I
that.
think he has really stepped up his skills, and I think Canelo's going to catch him even earlier than that.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see Andrade fight Charlo and unify the 160-pound, belts, and then fight Triple G, or vice versa, fight Triple G. But believe it or not, I was just reading last night, they mentioned it. Triple G is not fighting till December 31st.
Yeah.
And he didn't fight this year. Now he's
They're
fighting. Well, I think
bringing him
he fought last year, one fight against a nobody, and now he's fighting against a nobody December 31st. But yet he's holding a belt. Why can't they hold him responsible and say, you don't fight, we take the belt, and it's an open belt? What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Well, Triple G he stands for a lot, and he's doing a lot right now for his, mind you, he's an old timer, like, I don't want to say old timer, I want to say a vet of the sport, of the sport. And you know what? He's doing a lot still, and they may be allowing him to keep that belt so that when the big fights come along, then he's able to take it with ease and not have any type of injury involved or anything that's going to deter it. Because Triple G, you got to hand it to him. He's a phenomenal fighter. He's strong. He's fast for his age. So that's why I think they're taking that into consideration. Him and the belt. I mean, come on. The guy's 39 years old. He has a world champion. He's world champion. That's something. That is something phenomenal, I think. So I'm you know what? I'm a Triple G fan. Excuse
I know
me.
you are. I know you are, but who am I?
But no, exactly. But
Yeah.
but it makes sense though. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see him step back into the ring with somebody formidable and solid. You know what? I got a lot of faith in him, and I think he's gonna do just fine.
How do you think he would do against Andrade, the Andrade we saw last night, Triple G?
I see Triple G cutting off the ring a lot and pressuring him the earlier rounds, wearing him down, and then ultimately getting him in the later rounds, knocking him out, maybe 10th round, 9th, 10th round.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah.
What do you
that
think? What
was-
do you think, Dave?
What do you think, Dave Trujillo, about that?
Well, I think Triple G's experience for Andrade is just going to be way too much. Andrade better stay busy about 3 times a year right now because
Exactly.
he's got to shake off that ring rust. He didn't look too impressive last night to me. He looked athletic like he always has been, but he just was not impressive. There was a lot of holes. There was a lot of openings. I mean, he squared up a lot. I mean, there was a lot of mistakes that were made, you know, and for a Triple G, for Triple G, for Canelo, for even the Charlos right now, I mean, he opens up like that, he's going to get knocked out.
What do
It'll
you
be his
think,
first
Jaime?
knockout.
Yeah, what do you think, Jaime, between him and one of the Charlo brothers? Actually, Jarmal, the 160-pound champion. What do you think about Andrade
Against Triple
and
G?
Charlo? No, Charlo and Andrade.
That'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That'd be a good fight. I'd like to see that fight. And everybody talks about Charlo, and I know he's a good fighter, but I don't see him as how everybody else has him up there. He hasn't fought nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but
Mhm.
he has skills. I understand that, but has he been tested? I don't think so. But that'd be a good fight.
Interesting.
Well, another great fight last night
That's
was
just my
Tony.
opinion.
Yeah, was Tony Harrison. Did you guys get a chance to see that on
I
Fox?
saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
What was your opinion,
Great
Mike,
fight.
on that one? I like Tony
You know,
Harrison. Yeah.
Tony Harrison's great. You know, he's a great fighter. You know, for him to be that again, he's an old timer. He's coming on.
Yeah.
Being that age, to be able to be mobile the way that as mobile as he is, and to have that still in the later rounds, that just shows a lot. It shows a lot, and you know, he did a great job. You know, it's good to see him that way.
Were you okay with that decision?
Tony, excuse me, he ended up getting the nod, correct?
No. It turned out to be a
Oh
draw.
no, it was
a draw. It turned out to be a draw. Yes.
Yeah, it was a draw.
Split draw.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a split draw. I
Yeah.
thought he had got. You know, I thought he had did just enough to get it,
Yeah.
but a split draw. All right, you know. Well, let's see the fight again. You know,
Yeah.
it was a good fight. It was a good fight. It's something to see again. So yeah,
Yeah.
you know, they did the right thing.
Yeah. What's your opinion, Dave, on
Would
that
you
one?
would you want to see that fight again?
Yo,
Well,
yeah,
you know,
I'd like to see it again. It was a pretty good fight. I mean, to
Yeah.
me, it could have gone either way. And I had it as a draw, or I actually, believe it or not, I had Tony Harrison 7-5 by one round. And then I was listening to Marcos Villegas as he was reading his cards. Mine were just like Marcos Villegas, his cards. So yeah, it could have gone either way. Yeah, I was okay with it.
Yeah, I was there too, Dave. 7-5. That's what I had for that.
Yeah. What did you think, Dave, on that one? Tony Harrison, did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, well, you know, Tony Harrison's coming back. He's had a lot going on in his life the last couple of years. You know, losing his dad.
Yeah.
You know, losing his dad right before that fight, coming up short. Of course, he didn't even show up to that last Charlo fight. You know, but you know, he's coming back. His brother's got a hold of him. Looks like they're trying to settle him down again, getting back to basics and getting back to the roots. I think we're going to see a lot better out of Tony Harrison. I think this was a warm up for him. I think he did okay. I wish he would have pulled it out a little bit more, but then again, you know, considering everything that he's been going through his life and getting back into the ring, I think that, you know, let's see this fight one more time. Let's see if Tony Harris could really pull it out this time and take it away and run away with it. And then I think he's back on. You know, it's just a matter of, I think, one more fight for him.
Yeah.
Momentum. It's momentum. Yeah, he's gaining
Yep.
momentum. That's what it's all
Mhm.
about.
What did you
Yes,
think,
sir.
Jaime? Did you watch it? Get a chance to watch it?
I just watched the highlights of it.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to watch the highlights, and from what I saw, you know, from as little as I saw, I really couldn't call it either way. But I heard everybody talking about it, and
Mhm.
You know, some people had it like the way you saw it, and some people
Yeah.
said, "Hey, it was a draw. I'd like to see it again."
Yeah.
But I didn't really see enough to make a good call on it myself.
Yeah. Well, guys, also last night, Jake Paul, I guess he's like the YouTube sensation. I'm sorry, no disrespect to anybody. I'm not going to pay to see that. I'm not. And I know it's on Thriller, and everybody's saying Thriller is the new mega, promotional company. I'm sorry, I did not watch it. I didn't even read the notes on it. I just didn't. I know it's good for boxing. What's your opinion, guys, of having these guys going out there and promoting boxing and making millions of dollars? What's your opinion on that?
Well,
I'll just put it on.
I personally think it's disrespectful.
I see like
You got
that
these
too.
fighters that train, man,
Yeah.
and put their lives on the line.
Yeah.
And I mean, they made it so theatrical. I thought Vince McMahon was going to pop out of the corner somewhere. This was crazy, man. To me, I think it's disrespectful to the true boxing athlete.
Yeah.
They give it too much. They put their life on the line, for someone to come out of nowhere just because of, social media and just because of that puts them ahead of all these people that have, man, basically, given up their life.
Yeah.
And for them to make that type of money, man, and basically just handpick these fighters. I'm sorry, that guy, I know the guy that was a UFC fighter, but it looks like he hasn't been in the only ring he was in was at, I don't know, the rodeo, man, because poor guy,
Yeah.
and they make it so theatrical, and to me, it's sad, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think boxing needs it. I think it's disrespectful to the sport. As a family man and having children, I can't even have my kids or grandkids enjoy the fights with me like we did as we spoke, back in the day, because every other word's the F word. Every other, talking about weed, smoking weed, doing shots.
Mhm.
I just think it's a bad example of what the boxing is a gentleman's sport.
Yes.
And it just took the gentleman right out of it. That's just my opinion. I know the youngsters and the millennials, they're gonna think different, but stick to the old OG boxing,
Yeah.
and that's what I love.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? What do you think about that? You're the youngest.
no. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Hyman and I understand what you're saying, and I completely agree with you having the respect for the sport. Appreciated, of course. No, excuse me.
You probably have a call coming
Let me
in.
see. 1 minute.
We could still hear you.
Yeah, I don't
We could
know
hear
what.
you.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. So, I completely understand why you're saying this is a circus act. Of course it is. It is a circus act. This guy's a YouTube sensation. He has 1 billion followers. That's great. He's barely working. I mean, kudos to him in the gym recently and doing all that. Great. Like, fantastic. But I will say that I understand what Hannah says, and it is a kick, in back of the freaking head to somebody who's been working their whole entire life to be, work all the way up the ladder, climb all the way up, go through all this, through the promoters, through the managers, through the people, through everybody that you need to, and just to earn $500-600 for a fight. I mean, I don't earn that, but there are some fighters that do, and it's unfortunate to think that there's someone like him. This is again, I'm not knocking him because hey, he got it, but
Yeah.
it's just I understand the unfair sense that Ham is talking about, because it isn't fair. It isn't fair to the fighters that work hard every single day, go into the gym every single day, work road work everything, and then like again they do the same thing, if not even more spectacular, and they get $500 for the night. I mean, come on. But it's a new age. It's a new age, and that's something that we have to get used to. This is something that I hope my fellow brethren will be able to jump on that train and be able to go and, be a goofy guy in front of the camera for a couple of minutes so that they could get paid a whole bunch of money. That's something that I hope that comes to the real boxing, the boxers who've been in the whole entire life. I hope that they could jump on that train as well.
Yeah. What about you, Dave? What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I'm going to agree a lot with both of them, both the champ, both with Jaime. But this is a new age, and we have to really take into consideration of that new age. But I believe that it can be done without disrespecting the sport of boxing so much and disrespecting these fighters that have, paved their way from amateurs to pros. And like Mike said, making $500. Now I could do without the alcohol. I could do without the smoke. I could do without the cussing. You want to bring a show? Bring a show. I mean, we can do all this without the drugs, things that we're trying to teach our kids and our boxers not to do. Okay, but you're promoting this. So what is this? This is a big party, like everybody, you go to everybody's house. Okay, these are casual fans. These are what casual fans get. They're the ones paying the bills. So let's back it up a little bit. Let's clean up Triller, make it a little bit more family orientated. I mean, come on, Snoop Dogg, he's a great hit. I love it. We're talking about Jake Paul. He put in the work. I mean, he did put in the work, and he's getting paid millions of dollars, so he could afford to have all these fighters go to his house. That's what he's doing. I mean, he's got. I'm going to mention a name here, Lazaro Lorenzano, going down there to teach him some skills, getting in the ring with him. He's got other guys that he's going there with him. So if he's putting in the work, he's doing what he needs to do, hooray for him. But this Triller deal is the way of the future. I just think they need to cut it down. Give me 50% of all that stuff. Come on. We're a gentleman's sport. The alcohol, the marijuana, and the cussing. It's hard enough that we're having hard lives already. You know what I'm saying? Especially these boxers. But what are we teaching these guys? It's all right to drink and smoke in between your fights. It's okay to do it, whatever. No, I don't want my kids watching this. I don't want my grandkids watching this. This is not a show for my family. All right. For me, I'll sit there turn the volume off because I'm disciplined that way. I could turn the volume off. I could watch the fight and I'm good with it. But this is not a family show. This is a adult only show, and they had children on that show. And to me, that's a slap in the face to not only old school boxing, not the OG boxing, but also the new school boxers that are coming up. That us as trainers are teaching them not to do the drugs and not to do the alcohol, and we're trying to keep them away from that. And it's being glorified here on this stage.
Well, thank God for Grito de Guerra, Marv Nation, and all the other Thompson Boxing, all the other up-and-coming promotional companies that aren't promoting drugs, that aren't promoting weed, that aren't promoting, things that are against family values. So thank God for that, and Top Rank, and Golden Boy, and DAZN, and all the other major companies that haven't fallen into that. And hopefully, like you said, Jaime, hopefully there will be some changes in the near future. And if not, we've seen companies like this come up and they're short-lived. They come up for a year or 2 years and all of a sudden they're gone. But yet you have, Golden Boy, you have Top Rank, the ones that I mentioned, and they've been around for 50, 30, 40 years, and they're still there. Guys, with that said, let's talk about next week's fight. We have some outstanding fights next week. One of the good fights is Edward Berlanga. Edward Berlanga, Puerto Rican fighter out of New York. He's 16-0 with 16 knockouts in the first round. When was the last time we heard something like that, Jaime? 16 knockouts in the first round.
That was just me and my wife when we first got married. I think she was 18-0.
She was 18-0 and first round knockout.
Dave, real quick, that's a great joke. But the last time we heard of something like that was against with my friend Edwin Valero, who
Yes.
passed away so tragically.
That's
But he
right.
was 15-0 with 15 KOs in the first round. First
Wow.
round.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow.
Edwin
Mhm.
Valero was a phenomenal
was.
individual. And you know what? That was my he was my stablemate.
Uh-huh.
He was my buddy, and you know, I learned a lot from him. It's unfortunate the way that it all ended, but he was a truly an an individual by himself. Just one, he was the one. It was only one Edwin Valero,
You know,
and you know
champ,
what?
I think
Unbelievable.
that I think Edwin, he would have been the superstar of boxing, brother.
I
I mean,
believed in Edwin.
to me that guy was a beast. Yes,
I
Valero.
believed in Edwin.
I mean,
I worked with him.
I
I worked with him.
I was praying so hard for that Pacquiao fight back then. You know, because
You and everyone
Pacquiao was on the
else.
top. He was on the
Yep.
top. Man,
Yep.
that would have been a great.
Edwin
Yeah,
Valero was.
he's a legend.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I truly believed in Edwin.
And one thing I'm gonna say too. The difference is Edwin fought some good quality fighters those first 15
Yes,
fights
he did.
compared to Berlanga. I mean, Berlanga, I don't know any of the fighters he's fought, but I mean, he is taking care of business. He's a solid looking dude. He obviously has a punch, but you can't compare him to Valera. I mean, he whole different person.
Yeah.
Something that I you know, that again, the ending is what a lot of people are gonna look at. The way that it ended, his life ended, but at the same time, come on. I said, you know what? I don't care what any of you guys say. Before that happened, before all that, we don't know what happened. We weren't there, but before all that, I knew Edwin. He was my friend, and you know what? Great guy, great individual, and very smart, very smart. So who knows? You know, only God knows. And you know what? So unfortunate to actually, you know, the way that it all ended. It's horrible.
Hey, Champ, I know we're talking about Berlanga, but tell me a little bit about Edwin. I mean, Jaime, that's if one of the things that we're going to be doing, we're going to opening up old cold cases, people that have been murdered, people that have died. And one of the ones that Jaime wants us to do in the near future, not now, but is open up that case, maybe work a little bit more, you know, on the incident, what really happened, do, you know, basically, just basically do an inquiry on it. But what kind of a guy was he? Was he a friendly guy? Was he funny? What type of personality did he have? You're the first that I know that knew him very well.
Oh yeah, Edwin was my stablemate, and he was also my roommate.
Uh-huh.
We stood together, you know, under Joe Hernandez. Joe Hernandez was our trainer. Me, Edwin Valero, and Daniel Ponce de Leon. You know, we were all staying in this in a small little, you know, apartment of his, and very professional individuals, both of them.
Really? Very disciplined.
Strictly unbelievable. Let me tell you one thing. Unbelievable work ethics. Unreal.
Really?
Unreal. And you know what? And let me tell you, I was champion, but I learned from them to be champion, because you know what? I'll give them that credit. Edwin Valero was I've never seen anyone work like Edwin Valero used to work. Like
Really?
he had a madness in his mind, and he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop.
Mhm.
We were done. We would be all done, ready to go. Edwin was still punching the bag, hitting the speed bag, doing exercise, doing sparring. He'd spar the last, you know, he was my friend, but he was I believe what he did was legendary.
Yeah. Well,
So
Mikey Garcia says when he sparred him, he's the guy that has hit him the hardest in the ring. Mikey on several interviews have said, you know what, the guy that hit me the hardest, we were sparring, was Edwin Valero. That was the one that hit him the hardest. Said the guy was strong, just strong. Yeah.
Edwin had a great setup. He had a great setup, and what he would do is he would maneuver himself. He wouldn't just go in there. You know, nowadays you have a lot of fighters who don't have some type of strategy. They just go in and they, you know, rock'em sock'em robots. Edwin had this finesse to him that, and taught me. He taught me exactly. Him and I sparred, you know, and he was just a different the movements in there and the punches, the combinations that he had. He had an unbelievable left hook, you know, and luckily he didn't catch me with it because he missed that one. But I've seen him catch everybody else, and oh my god! I mean, whole knockout individuals in the
Yeah.
ring, and I'm over here with my hands on my head, like, wow, I'm not gonna go into that ring with them right now.
Mhm.
I'll be the second or third. You know?
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Edwin.
Wow.
But he was a good person though. He was
Yeah.
a good person, which is the reason why it's hard to believe about, you know, what ended up, you know, happening.
Yeah.
And it's just like everybody's just kind of like, no, you know, because he was gonna be the next mega superstar. This guy.
Yes, he was.
And you know,
Yeah.
and I'll say that, you know, because you know what, I believe in him as well.
Yeah.
Again, you know, so it's unfortunate. That's boxing, though. You know, boxing will get you.
May
that
he
way.
rest in peace.
May he
Exactly.
rest
Yep.
in peace. And that's it. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I like
Dave-
to look at. Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead, Dave.
I like to look at Edwin Valero as his last fight, and that was with Antonio DeMarco.
Okay.
You know that fight there summed his career up. I mean, it summed up who he was as a man, as a dog in the ring, as a champion, as probably the world's greatest talent that we would have saw up to that point. You know, we could always go back and talk about what happened back there, but that's not. You know, I mean, what he displayed in there, I think he got cut either in the first or second round,
He did.
and you know, anybody would have, you know, I mean, it would have just drained them to have that much blood coming out of their body like that. And, you know, back then they didn't stop the fights like they do today. They let them continue to go. And this man just, you know, came back and just whooped Tony DeMarco and just took it to him for the whole 12 rounds. You know what I mean? And that's the way I always want to see Edwin Valero. That's my memory of Edwin Valero, and
Yeah.
I want to leave him right there at that, because I'm no judge. God is the only judge,
That's
and you know, all I could do is judge him by his last fight and the man that he was. And
Yeah.
that's unbelievable, champ. That you had two greats in the ring with each other like that, and you could sit here today and you're talking to us about being in the ring with him.
I know.
Oh,
That's outstanding.
that's a
That's why
blessing for
we're
us.
honored to have you. Yes.
Yes,
All
You're
sir.
absolutely right. Yeah.
Let me tell you, gentlemen, this guy, I'm gonna gloat a little bit more about him because he was a phenomenal puncher. And you know what? Again, that leads me to always truly be I was a fan of his. You know why? Because
Yeah.
Edwin was a gentleman to me,
Mhm.
and to a lot of people. He was a good guy, but again, you know, he kind of threw a marker on his career, on his life, you know, and the way that people think about him, because ultimately people are gonna look at the end, what happened, and
Yeah.
it's like, but they don't understand what happened before that. We don't, you and I, we can't. Again, just like you said,
Yeah.
they only God knows.
Exactly.
Only God knows.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that being his stablemate and his you know, just a gym, just being in the same gym, to be able to see the way that this individual pulled out working the way that he did was phenomenal. It was great. It was great. And you know what? He taught me a lot. I will say that. He did teach me a lot.
So guys, next week we got Edward Berlanga, 16-0, 16 first round knockouts, just one
Fantastic.
more over Edwin. What do you guys
Okay.
think? He's fighting a gentleman by the name of Demon Nicholson. And Demon Nicholson, I guess he's a little more experienced than the fighters that he's had to face before in the past. They're predicting maybe a third, fourth round knockout. It's only an 8-round fight. I mean, I don't see Demon having a chance to beat him. But who would you guys? There's not really much to talk about that fight because we know what the end result's going to be. But who would you guys like to see him fight at 168 after this fight?
After this,
Yeah,
A
he's going to
little
knock
bit.
the guy out. We know that. I mean, this
Well-
guy, I mean, with all due respect, I mean, he'll knock him out, but maybe not in the first, second, third round. But who would you like to see him fight after this fight? Name me
Where's
a-
Zerto
name me-
come-
name me
where-
a
one
top
of the
10.
Charlos.
Well,
Or-
they're
or
not
what
going to
if-
go to 168 to fight him. He's
What
fighting
about
at
Zurdo?
168.
What about Zurdo?
So what do you guys think about Danny Jacobs?
Ah,
Jacobs, he can do that.
mhm, mhm. He's
Oh,
got to
what
work his
about-
way up to. He's got to work his way up to Gilberto Ramirez.
Yes, he has to work his way up to that. But
Yeah,
Danny
he has to work his way up
Jacobs,
to that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Zurdo. Yeah, Zurdo. Yeah, that's
Zurdo
what I was gonna
Ramirez.
say.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No.
Danny
I like
Jacobs is
Daniel. I
one.
like the. I think Danny Jacobs will. He'll expose him.
Yeah,
He's very experienced. He's not going to allow this young kid
Very
to get near him.
methodical.
Not
exactly.
like that. But if he does, he can make the mistake like what's his name? Santa Cruz did with Tank. You know, he'll
Yeah.
get comfortable in there and he'll let him get too close and he'll land that shot and he'll put him out.
I want to say that I want to echo that. You know, the Santa Cruz against Tank. You know, I just think that he didn't get comfortable. He was still on his toes and he was still watching the fight in the way that, you know, Tank just, he had the right timing and he knew Santa Cruz was going to come in and he was going to do that. But I don't think Santa Cruz, I don't think that he made a mistake, one, but he did
Yeah.
a good job up until then.
Yes, he
He
did.
did a
Yes,
great
he did.
job.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
was boxing him. He was boxing him the way that he should box someone like Tank, and he was moving the way that he should. But I think you know, Tank just caught him just at the right moment. You know, it was one of them shots. It was one
And
of
see,
them shots.
if say Daniel Jacobs gets in there with him, that's what Daniel Jacobs has got to understand. It could be caught with that one shot.
That one
and
shot.
It'll be over with. Mhm.
That's it.
You know, there's another one that I'd like to see him fight before he fights, you know, the top 10. Gabriel Rosado. What do you guys think about that? Gabriel Rosado.
You know, he brings it. If you know, he's tough. He's tough, and he brings the experience, and that'll be interesting. That will be.
He'll push him on his heels, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because he's going to come in and see, he's used to coming in. Berlanga's used to coming in and he's used to driving. Well, so is Rosado.
Yeah.
Rosado's
Yeah.
going to come in and he's
It'll
going to
be
drive
two
on him.
bulls.
And he
How
has
does
a
he
lot
have-
of experience.
How
Yeah.
does he handle
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
Now you got two bulls coming out, but see, Gabe Rosado is experienced, you know, and
Yeah.
he put that pressure on him, and he'll smother those punches as he's doing it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'll give him a less of an opportunity to unleash those body shots like that, you know, or to the head. So I would say that'd be a good dogfight right there.
Okay,
I would say-
one more. I'm going to throw this one at you. I'm not a
Sure.
big fan. I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of his father, but not of him. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
He quits.
at 168. What do you think?
Okay,
Against Berlanga.
There's gonna be a lot of speculation. There's gonna be a lot of, you know.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Dave? Dave, go ahead, Dave. Say what you're gonna
Go ahead,
say.
Dave.
All right, I'm gonna say it right now.
Say what you're gonna say, Dave.
Yeah,
The second he starts getting hit hard,
he's going to
it's
quit.
over.
It's over.
over.
Exactly.
You know,
And that boy hits
completely-
hard.
Yeah.
I completely understand, Dave, why you would
Yeah.
say that. You
Yeah.
know what? There's something about Chavez still in my eyes, and I think because his father was, of course, we know he's a legend, and he's you know one of the greatest of all right there, and everything. But there's just something about Junior that that I still got a little bit of faith in his style, and I still got a little bit of faith in his abilities. And I think that if it's just that day, you know, that he feels good and I think he could shock a lot of people. He can do a lot.
Yeah.
I agree with you. If he were to dedicate 100% of himself
Yes.
to his craft,
Yes.
that I believe that he could come in like that.
Yeah.
You know, but so far the fight that he's had has not been in the ring. It's been
It's
against himself.
himself. Yep.
Himself.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. I
Yeah.
agree. We all agree because we said at the same time.
Yes.
It's
Well,
true.
guys, another great fight next week on ESPN is going to be Navarrete, Emmanuel El Vaquero Navarrete. He's a champion at 126. And he was a champion at 122 when he beat Dogbo twice. And Dogbo was undefeated. Nobody could beat Dogbo. He beat him. He beat him to a pulp twice. Now he's fighting as a world champion at 126. He's fighting against Diaz. That's going to be a great fight. What do you guys think about that one? El Vaquero Navarrete. He's a great, outstanding fighter from Mexico City. He fights under Sanford Boxing.
I don't see anybody taking that away from his throne right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see the dogs coming up, and I call them dogs, and the reason we call them dogs because we use that term in the ring all the time. I don't see them coming up and taking that from him right now. I mean, he's got it, he owns it, he's not going to let it go. This guy trains 24/7. This guy is living his dream, and he's got a hold of the championship. And I don't see him allowing anybody right now, at least for the next few fights, even letting him come close to him. He's going to try to wipe him out probably soon, 3 to 4 rounds.
Yeah. Well, he won the championship because it was vacant from Shakur Stevenson, went to 130, and then him and Ruben Villa fought for it. And that was a very close fight. Ruben Villa was a great fight, outstanding fight. So, so he ended up winning the belt, and then now he's defending it at 126. So I agree with you, Dave. He's an outstanding fighter. He's tall, lanky, has that long reach, and he has
exactly
great,
what you
ring experience. So that's gonna be. What do you think, Champ, about that fight? Have you seen Navarrete fight El Vaquero?
I've only heard of Navarrete, but I've never seen him fight. But what you guys are saying, if he's tall and lanky and he's able to be methodical in the ring,
yes,
that's you get everything. You get everything right there. You have the length, and you have the movements. He could time it easily if he set up his opponent with the right punch. That's it. Game over.
Yeah.
And that's what he'll do. That's what ultimately he's going to try and do is just, jab his way in there, open up some, find some small openings, end it with a good, right hand or uppercut.
Whatever. He's got some nice long body shots too. I mean, he throws a long body shot.
Great,
so he's got a lot of leverage on him. He's got a lot of leverage and a lot of.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying there. Yeah. That leverage is everything if you're able to use it correctly.
Yeah. And I don't mean to jump back real quick, but I saw Andrade doing that yesterday. He was getting down and squatting down. He was spreading his legs and getting that low center of gravity to try to take the guy out, but unfortunately he couldn't. I just wanted to bring that up real quick, but
no, that was a good point.
Yep, center of gravity and the long reaches,
Oh, he was coming up with some strong uppercuts. I thought some of those uppercuts that he was connecting him with, I thought it was to take the guy's head off. But the guy had a lot of heart, man. A lot of heart, huh?
Yeah,
those uppercuts are brutal. The right
yes,
uppercuts
they are.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this guy's gonna knock his head off.
Yeah. But you know what? That guy was like a robot. I mean, the guy kept coming and telling him, hit me more.
Yeah.
And a guy like that, just a lot of heart. It was a good fight.
He put on a good show.
Exactly. Yeah. Dave, I think you have some announcements. You're going to be moving pretty soon, right? Are the Mecca of boxing. That's one of our goals, to make it the California Mecca of boxing, Temecula. And tell us a little bit about those moves that you have coming up.
Yeah, well, right now what's happening with the House of Pain in Southern California is we are now moving into a bigger spot, but we're coming back to Old Town Temecula. Just south of Old Town Temecula, we got a bigger spot. We just we're merging with Wildlife Boxing, which is Roberto Mesa Sr. and Ram. We're coming in together. We decided to come together as a family. We've been so tight since we've known each other. They're boxers, our boxers. They're like already one stable. So, I mean, we're with each other all the time. So we're going ahead and doing that. And then I got my buddy Kenny Finister. He's up in San Bernardino, but he had a Brigada Elite all the way up until the shutdown. And they're Muay Thai. So, he's always been a really good friend of mine. We fit like a glove. He's very professional. He's a professional coach and also been a champion for many years himself. So we're going to have another champion trainer underneath our belts there because he does boxing and Muay Thai. So we're going to bring all three of us in there together, and we're building this big family here. We got promotions. We've got them with Grito de Guerra. We've got them with Cesar Garcia with the managements. I'm going to be co-managing and helping out too. We have the casinos around here that we're working on really good. We're starting to get a really good welcoming from Temecula and the community itself. A lot of the business owners are embracing us. They love what we're doing with the children, the mentorship program with our kids. So that being said, this is going to be our first move towards becoming the bigger Mecca. We're going to make this the big Mecca here of Temecula. And of course, we have Temecula Boxing. We got Jesse Moreno right down the block too. And, you know, he's doing some amazing things there, especially with his boxers, his amateurs, and Raul coming up as a pro. As a matter of fact, I forgot to mention this last week, but Raul went into his fight and he got a 12-second knockout. And I try to hit up David.
Outstanding. He's outstanding.
Yeah,
He really is.
12-second knockout.
Sounds
This was
great.
his third fight. Yeah. And I try to hit up David Martinez and connect them together. I don't know if they collaborated together, him and Jesse, because, you know, our David Martinez is the great historian, you know, formerly with HBO. And so I try to hook them up to see if David could find out and fill us in on whether or not that was one of the fastest knockouts in boxing history. So he's getting close. This kid is getting close. So Raul.
Sounds promising. Sounds promising.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
This young man, Raul Lizarraga, he's fought a lot of his fights in Mexico. The guy fights at 168, right? And
Yes,
he's
sir.
coming in, knocking people out. He's a future Berlanga. He is doing great. I'll tell you, Dave has some outstanding fighters, and I definitely see Temecula being the Mecca of boxing in the near future. Definitely,
Yes.
no doubt.
We're gonna make that happen here, David.
That's right.
All of us together. Because
Exactly.
it can only happen because of all of us.
That's
you know?
right.
And
That's
with
right.
all of us together, only God could put this together. And he's blessing us all right now. And it's happening right now in front of us. To go this far, that fast within 1 year is we're moving like a 3 to 5 year already.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So that's how fast we're moving. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Well,
Outstanding.
Dave, you and I, you know, we spoke about my godson, you know, him
Yes.
being in boxing.
Tell
you
us
know what,
about
Dave?
him. Yes.
Yeah, you know, he's 4-0. He's got 3 KOs. And you know what, Dave? I've spoke to you about him earlier, and who knows? Maybe we might put him over there. He might be another fighter in Temecula.
You know what?
Wouldn't that be
welcome
a
him.
great fight?
Absolutely. And you know what? We have the means to now to go from amateur to pro to management to promotions.
Fantastic.
And then we got another shout out I have to make to my 303 brothers. And I've got Steve Mestis out there with their tight and House of Pain Boxing out there as well, which we're going to be collaborating with him as well. And he's also going to get involved more and more out here as time goes on with this. So we're making a big moves out here. These aren't just little moves. We're making big moves because we're going to be able to cover not only California, but we're going to be able to cover all the way to Wyoming, all the way down to Texas, all the way to here,
Fantastic.
Southern California.
Great.
Those are the moves we're trying to make.
That's the way to do it.
Definitely. Champ, anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to basically let our viewers know that you're working on that for them to assist or help in any way?
You know, Dave, I appreciate that question, and I will tell you this: Champ is always working on Champ, so that's why I can't say that I don't want to push anything out there about anything coming up or anything like that. But I've just been busy working on myself, and we'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, Dave. I appreciate this opportunity because if it wasn't for this boxing, boxing brings me this channel that I'm able to speak with you and these brilliant individuals about all the fights, talking boxing, spitting. I don't know what I'd be doing, and it'd be unbelievably boring, But I appreciate this. I do, I do, because you know what? I will tell you, Dave. I will tell you this. There's a lot more bigger announcements to come, and and I'm going to use this channel to do it.
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
It'd be
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad to hear about. And Dave, you and I, we need to talk off air about who I spoke to you about.
Yes.
We will we have the future of boxing. Let's do it.
Yep. Let's do it. I'm ready for you, baby. You know that.
I appreciate that, Dave. Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. You know, but
Yes.
we'll do that after. But I mean, anything else with the fight? You know, you have these fighters that come into, you know, that you sign or that you deal with and that you work with and all that. But what about what they do outside of the ring? How are you able to keep I wouldn't say notches on them, but notice to them? Do you stay in contact with them always, or do you leave them just do whatever they do, or do you have them tended in a camp and you just leave them like that? And, you know, how do you do it, Dave?
Well, right now, what it is we're so young that we have not yet had to have fighters underneath our roof yet, but we're going to get it. It's going to happen. I mean, we have fighters underneath our roof, let's say that, but we haven't housed them yet. And
Yeah.
and I'm sure we're going to start going to that. But you know what? Right now, it's a lot of mentoring. Right now, it's a lot of talking, a lot of getting in their head and keeping them straight. You know, keeping them focused on 100% on their craft, and constantly encouraging them. You know, the world is so fast and so easy for them to get away from you. I mean, they could walk out of the gym and they could walk right into issues. You know, and
Yeah.
some of my fighters have those issues. So I'm constantly talking to them. You know, my door is always open to talk to them. So I'm always, pushing, the positivity of what they're doing in there, the pain that they're dealing with here in the gym, and what they have to deal with outside in the world becomes a little bit less because we handle it here. But I tell them, whatever issues you have out there, bring them to me. Let's talk about it. Let me see if I can help you with it. And, there's always going to be some type of issues, some type of problems, some things we find out. You should see the things that we find out with the youth.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, for what their parent, I mean, and this is typical because the parents have no idea of a lot of things that aren't happening. So, we're just blessed to be able to be that, that person or that club that they could come into, and it's sanctuary for them. And, without judgment, we just try to take whatever's going on and we try to guide it in positive ways all the time. We're spiritual based, and we'll always be spiritual based, and we'll never deny that. The best warriors in the world are, followers of Jesus Christ, and that's what we do. And we're men. So
Fantastic.
So we're gonna continue to move forward in those directions. And we're going to do what we can, whatever he gives us and presents us with whoever it is, we'll do the best that we can. And as long as we know, we can walk away saying we did the best we can for those kids. And hopefully if it takes or it doesn't take, but maybe it'll plant the seed for later on in life or what have you.
So suggestion though, Dave, suggestion.
Sure.
You get these fighters and they're young fighters, and you bring them up, you mold them, and you're able to, pick apart exactly what you need to and pick from them and give to them or whatever. A major suggestion. And I think a lot of the people who understand me and who know me are going to nod their heads and say, yep, you need to. Dietary, a good diet is very, very, it's a need, and you have to have that with them. The way that you diet them and the way that they work with whatever they have in their system, that's very important. Because let me tell you, I've gone through it. I've gone through it where there was nobody really that kind of mentored me into the whole dieting. I mean, come on. I was overweight for my championship defense. What the heck? But that was just a lot. That was a lot. So mind you, I'm just saying, Dave, that's one thing that I would highly recommend is follow their diets, and encourage them to gain knowledge. There's so much information out there nowadays with the dieting, with good foods, what you can and what you can't eat, and all. And come on, we have the internet. You can look up any type of diet and they'll give it to you. And about 80% of the diets will work. I won't say 100, but what I'm saying is the diet is very important. I will say
Champ, funny that you mentioned that. I've been a nutritionist for 20 years.
Okay, so Dave.
And I have had the pleasure of helping many of not only fighters, but people lose weight just with their everyday lives. So, you know, that being said, 20 years that I have under my belt doing this, I had to start with me first. You know, I was my biggest customer, so to
Oh,
speak.
wow.
You know, yeah. So I came down from 350 pounds myself.
Fantastic.
I was in the yeah, I ended up getting into the what do you call it? Just business. I mean, we were doing business. I was CEO of 2 companies. We were running 2 of them at the same time, and I'm a stress eater. So I had got myself out of shape in my early 30s, so to speak. And then I had to work on myself. So the only way I could do it is I ended up shutting down one company because that was the one it was killing me. And I was a stress eater, and that's what I did. So I turned around and I ended up shutting it all down, both of them down. I ended up going in the gym. I went from, you know, being this corporate guy, all the way back down to, you know what? I became a little gym rat. And, you know, I made less money, but you know what? I lived. I was happy. I could sleep at night. And so what I did is, since I saved my own life, I went ahead and started helping people save their lives.
Fantastic.
And, you know, thank God we're over 4,500 people here in this valley that we've helped. And also I've helped people from Colorado to Texas to Arizona. I mean, even all the way back east, they've hit me up to help them out with their nutrition. So a lot of fighters have come to me over the years. I've cut them. I know how to cut them. We eat ourselves thin. We never starve ourselves. We're constantly eating every day, all day long.
Great.
And we
Great.
lose weight and we drop that way. So my guys, I like to keep them within about 10 pounds of themselves. And then I could always drop water and then get, you know, refill them back up that 1 day or 2 days, whatever it takes. But you're absolutely right, champ. And thank you for bringing that up, because they need to hear that, because I preach it every day and it goes in one ear and out of the other until all of a sudden they have to believe me at one point, right?
Yeah.
No, of course. And you don't want it to be on the scale when you're like, oh no, I should have just dropped those 2
Exactly.
pounds.
Well,
Yep.
guys, we've been talking for over an hour. Some of our listeners, including Jaime, probably fell asleep and they're no longer with us. I guess Jaime, I guess he had some problems with his internet. But guys, what a great show. We look forward
Yes.
to next week's show.
Always.
And guys, thank you once again and welcome, champ. We're honored to have you.
Appreciate that, Dave.
And Dave, once again, it's a blessing. And Jaime, I know you were having some problems with the internet. We will see you next week. And to all our listeners, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rolling with the Punches TV, and we will see you next week. God bless you. Thank you very
God bless
much.
you.